ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Global Reference News Inside America. We have a special show we're doing tonight. Apparently, a plane has just crashed in Washington. It seems to be like a military helicopter has crashed with a plane that was carrying at least 60 people on board. I heard there was fatalities, and we're going to go see a few videos that's going to give us a little bit of updates on just exactly what's going on or what happened.
We do have team coverage on this. We have Sarah Stinson joining us live here in studio with more details on this tragedy. Sarah.
This is just a tragic night for our nation's capital, with the country just anxiously waiting to hear if there are any survivors, which we still just don't have those numbers yet. Take a look at this picture. I mean, this kind of shows it all. You've got the aircraft in the river there. You've got rescue boats there. They're trying to find anyone who has survived this, recover anyone who has not. And it's an active scene there. I spoke with a retired American Airlines pilot who kind of speculated on what may have happened with all of his experience. An American Airlines plane landing at the Reagan National Airport collided with a helicopter Wednesday night. Video from the Kennedy Center observation desk captured the crash. You can see a fireball and then both aircrafts plummeting into the Potomac River. This plane was flying from Wichita, Kansas to D.C. with around 60 passengers and 4 crew aboard. The helicopter is known as a Black Hawk. It had 3 people on board. The Associated Press reports that it was on a training flight.
Look at the ambulance.
First responders from multiple agencies immediately started a desperate search for survivors in the icy river.
An impact into the water. The water is 35 degrees, so you've got limited time to recover survivors. Highly unlikely we're going to see a great number of survivors, if any.
Retired pilot Doug Rice flew professionally with American Airlines for 35 years and has landed at the Reagan National Airport many times. He immediately looked into what might have happened, and according to FlightAware, the plane was circling to land and rerouted to a different runway.
And that side of the Potomac is a, for lack of a better term, helicopter highway. That is, there's a great deal of helicopter traffic transiting the area around Washington Reagan.
And Rice says since the plane was only about 300 feet above and about to land, the plane's collision avoidance system likely didn't alert the pilots.
This has got to be a captain's worst nightmare.
Oh, it is. So they're traveling to land, circling in this airspace that is very congested with these helicopters, and the crew would have had no warning.
Direct flights from Wichita to D.C. started about a year ago. Here's Wichita Mayor Lily Wu.
We really want to ask each and every Wichitan, Kansan, and American to pray for everyone involved.
Definitely prayers out to the families involved. The NTSB will be leading this investigation. Of course, at this time, we don't know the cause of this crash. We don't know what went wrong, and that's not really what they're focusing on right now. As I said, very active scene. They're recovering people who have either possibly survived or recovering those who did not. At the press conference, no numbers were given out. Of course, they want to know who's okay, who's not. They said that they've been in contact with families of those who were on that American Airlines flight, and they have brought them to a lounge at the airport there so that they can give them the resources they need as they wait during this really fluid time. So
This is really, really crazy. I want to say it is really bizarre. Especially with all the technology that we have these days, that this is still happening. But, I guess accidents happen. I want to go to another video to where I think that here's one of a man who, I want to say, his wife was on board. And she sent him a text like 20 minutes before the crash saying that we're getting ready to land. And this is really, really sad.
thank you for being here with us at 11 o'clock. I'm Lorenzo Hall.
It has been a long night, and it is destined to be a very long one. I'm Leslie Foster. We've got team coverage for you as we work to piece together what happened here. Alexis Wainwright, Matt Gregory, and Larry Miller are all on this story for us tonight. It is all hands on deck here for us here at WUSA 9. Our Larry Miller is live at Reagan National Airport, where we know there are no flights coming in or going out. And there were quite an effort to get the people who were stuck there out of there and off on their way to Dulles Airport.
Well, absolutely, Leslie and Lorenzo. I want to let you know, maybe about 5 minutes ago, I just wrapped up one of the most heartbreaking interviews of my professional career. A gentleman, along with another family member, was waiting to get information on his wife, that was on that American Airlines flight coming from Wichita, Kansas into Reagan National. He showed me the text message, that the last one that he received from his 26-year-old wife, where she said that she was preparing to land in about 20 minutes. And that was the last message that he received from her. I asked him what's going through his mind, how is he feeling? And you can see him visibly shocked. We're working on trying to get that sound turned around in studio. Once you guys get that sound prepared, let me know, and I'll certainly toss to it. But it was heartbreaking to hear what this man was going through. I asked him what sort of information had he received from the airline. He said nothing. Anything from investigators? Nothing. He said it wasn't until he looked on social media that he realized something had happened, and he brought his way down here to the airport.
Wow,
we have
so
that
he
sound
didn't
ready.
even know.
Let's take a listen.
I'm just praying that somebody's pulling her out of the river right now as we speak. That's all I can pray for. I'm just praying to God.
When was the last time you spoke with her?
She texted me that they were landing in 20 minutes.
Can you show us a text message that you got from her?
Landing in 20 minutes. The rest of my text did not get delivered. That's when I realized something might be up.
That's when he realized something might be up, when he didn't get a response from his wife who was on that plane. I asked him about his wife. He said that she went to Wichita, Kansas for work, and that she always had a fear of flying, that she never really was comfortable. And tonight he is waiting desperately for answers. He's by his phone trying to talk with anyone that could potentially give him some information. I told him the little bit of information that we had and provided that to him. But you saw him, along with another family member, pacing this terminal, Terminal 2, trying to get answers about his wife that was on that American Airlines flight. Guys.
That gentleman that you talked with reminds us that the plane crashed, but dreams crashed, hopes crashed, lives crashed. So much happened when that plane did not land on runway 33 like it was supposed to tonight.
I don't know what to say. Check this out.
Mr. Vogt, we are living in a moment in American history where at a time when 60% of our people are living paycheck to paycheck.
Hold on, what is this?
We have more income and wealth inequality than we've ever had. Multi-billionaires own more wealth than the bottom half of American society. People are struggling to put food on the table. Very rich are getting much richer.
God. How in the world did we manage to get Bernie Sanders this late at night? He's always popping up when we really don't want to hear him. But check this out. This lady was told to deboard, I believe, before the flight even took off. Check this out.
And welcome back. We are continuing to follow that breaking news out of Washington, D.C. An American Airlines jet and a Black Hawk colliding around 9 p.m. tonight. I do want to read this. Governor Maura Healey just tweeting out. She's closely following this news coming out of D.C. and thoughts are with the survivors, victims, and their families. Grateful for the quick action of first responders in the wake of this terrible tragedy.
Well, let's continue to follow this locally. Right now, our Michael Rosenfield is live for us at Logan to continue our coverage. Michael, good evening to you. What are you learning tonight?
Well, the last flights of the night from Boston Logan Airport down to Washington, D.C. have been canceled because of this devastating news coming out of the nation's capital, as we've been reporting. An Army helicopter and an American Airlines regional jet colliding into each other, both of the aircraft ending up in the Potomac River near National Airport tonight. This happened around 9 o'clock this evening. Take a look at some of that video, some of this incredible video and tragic video coming to us from the scene this evening from Washington, D.C. Again, earlier reports indicate that it was an Army helicopter and a passenger jet that collided into each other near Ronald Reagan National Airport, and both aircraft ending up in the water. The plane was an American Airlines jet coming in from Wichita, Kansas. There is a massive search and rescue effort taking place right now in the water. The local NBC affiliate in Washington
If you're the helicopter, how did you miss that big old plane? Like, how
from the river? The rescue effort is the focus right now. How this happened and what went wrong will, of course, be examined in the hours and days to come. That video you've been watching from an observation camera at the nearby Kennedy Center shows what appears to be the two aircraft near each other, and then a big fireball. Around 60 people are believed to have been on board the American Airlines flight.
Something's just not right about
were in the
this whole
helicopter,
thing.
but you can imagine it must be an incredibly difficult search and rescue in the dark, in the water, the frigid temperature of the Potomac. National Airport is closed for now, and passengers here at Logan told us they were on board a plane ready to head to D.C. tonight when they were told to deplane.
So basically, we were about to take off, and there was a separate malfunction having to do with, I guess, the gas or like some pressure, and they were resetting the system, and as they were resetting it, then we got another call. Hey, this is your captain speaking, completely unrelated. We are going to have to deboard because DCA is no longer accepting flights. Unfortunately, there's been an accident, but, you know, we didn't know what was going on.
Oh, so, okay, so she didn't do this. This didn't happen before.
So certainly a story we'll be following through the night as this tragic story continues to develop in our nation's capital after this American Airlines flight from Wichita, Kansas collided with an Army helicopter near Ronald Reagan National Airport, and both aircraft ending up in the Potomac River. A massive search and rescue effort taking place as we speak.
Wow. It's something, man.
The CEO of American Airlines has just released a statement, a video. We'd like to play that for you right now. This is the first comment we have seen from American Airlines. Watch this.
I'd like to express our deep sorrow about these events. This is a difficult day for all of us at American Airlines, and our efforts now are focused entirely on the needs of our passengers, crew members, partners, first responders, along with their families and loved ones.
Yeah, and again, we don't know if American Airlines is going to have a representative at this news conference. Truth Social, the president, posted the following, quoting here: "The airplane was on a perfect and routine line of approach to the airport. The helicopter was going straight at the airplane for an extended period of time. It is a clear night. The lights on the plane were blazing. Why didn't the helicopter go up or down or turn? Why didn't the control tower tell the helicopter what to do instead of asking if they saw the plane? It's a bad situation that looks like it should have been prevented, not good." I think the tower did try to inform the helicopter pilot to go behind, if they saw it, and then to go behind. That was the transmission we got. So, and it's unclear if there was a response, and it's also unclear if the tower tried to reach out to the plane. But the pilots we have had on, the experts say
if this is on the helicopter,
to bother the plane right now if they didn't think it was an absolute critical situation. And at that time, it appears they were just kind of checking to make sure that the Black Hawk helicopter pilots saw the
jackass who was right in the helicopter.
And we're telling them, we're kind of guiding them to go toward the rear, go toward the back of the plane to clear the area. So again, you have flight 5342 came out of Wichita. It had 60 passengers on board and 4 crew members. And you have 2 pilots and you have 2 flight attendants. And you had on the helicopter, the Black Hawk helicopter, 3 soldiers, and we're told it was a training flight, which indicates nothing as far as the experience of the person who was actually flying on the plane. It was simply a training flight. They go up and do training flights all the time. It doesn't mean it was a flight training flight. It was a flight to go out and do routine training, which they do every single day and many times every day. So that's not an indication of who was on board and what their expertise level was on board. But clearly something happened when the plane was at 400 feet and coming in at 140 miles per hour. The Black Hawk helicopter and the plane collided. The CRJ 700 carrying 64 people collided and are now upside down.
That's not good. That's not good. That's not good. At all. I don't know what to say. It's just something about this just doesn't seem right. To be honest with you. Something about this just doesn't seem right.
This will be days. This will be days. And it will be a while before we actually have the answer to what caused the heartbreak over the Potomac tonight.
And we listen to those the radio transmissions, and we usually hear about these disasters, and there's some sort of warning ahead of time. You can hear the panic and the voices of the folks who are on these planes and helicopters.
They didn't have an opportunity for that.
At all.
No.
This was so sudden.
And maybe that
Show you how
it is not
fragile this
comfort,
life is, man.
let's be clear. But at least from what we know, the passengers, by and large, on board that commercial flight were not aware of the terror that awaited them. They did not have time to prepare. They were a mile from landing on runway 33.
And this is going to be a tough period. We are nearly 6 hours into this now, and we've been watching the heartbreaking images, and, you know, it doesn't make you feel any better knowing that, you know, that pain will only worsen as we learn who these people were, who was on these flights, some of our neighbors perhaps.
People in the community.
Yeah, we don't know what sort of ties we may have to the folks who were on that plane, but presumably some of our neighbors.
That's right. We know that the flight crew was based in this area for sure. And there were a good number of people, some who had loved ones waiting for them at Reagan National Airport to welcome them, who instead had to be comforted because of this awful, awful news. So we are thinking of the families at this hour. We are thinking of the rescuers and the first responders at this hour. We're thinking of the very many people who have any involvement in the disaster relief response, those Red Cross workers who have come there to help in some way, the clergy that are there counseling family members, the people at American Airlines who now have to go through a manifest and try to identify many of these family members, the investigators that have to go and try to piece all of this together. This is a story about shared humanity. We're all in this together. We may not be in the waters actually helping to find the answers and doing the rescue, but we're all invested in the answers that will come from tonight and this tragedy.
And this is how we do it here, thinking of all the folks who just step in.
That's
you hear
right.
about something wrong,
People
and
go.
they jump in. Even we were talking earlier just about WMATA. We heard from the Washington Metropolitan Airport Authority's president there saying he's grateful that they extended the train times.
Yeah.
So they could get folks out of Dulles into wherever they were going.
And grateful for those warming buses that transported people from National to Dulles so that they could make their flights. There were 19 flights that were impacted. So there were a lot of logistics that had to be managed in the midst of this. If you are just joining us, you may be just getting pieces of the information here. And we listened in on a press conference a couple hours ago that we're working to bring to you, and hopefully we'll have that soon. You'll be able to hear from our leaders, from their own mouths, what is happening and how this is impacting them. And I know we were struck by the senator from Kansas,
Senator
Jerry
Jerry
Moran, who talked
Let me
about
see if we
how
can get
this
to the
weighs
press
really heavy on
conference.
his heart because he had advocated for
Let's see if I can
a
get it up here.
nonstop flight from Wichita.
United States Senator Jim Moran, Senator Roger Marshall, Jack Potter, the CEO of the Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority. We are here to brief you on the very tragic events of this evening, where we know a passenger plane coming to the airport here collided with a military helicopter. Our fire department, DC Fire and EMS, supported by fire departments and police departments from across the Washington metropolitan region, are executing a rescue operation in the Potomac River. They are working diligently in very dark and cold conditions, cold water, to execute this rescue operation. We have had the opportunity to be briefed by American Airlines officials. I'm told that American Airlines leadership is on the way to Washington as well. And officials are in the airport talking to families now. We do have a 1-800 number where families should contact us, should contact American Airlines for more information, and we will be providing that information shortly. I am going to turn to a number of officials to provide as much information as we can this evening, and we expect to have more frequent briefings at daylight. So with that, I'm going to turn to Secretary Duffy.
Thank you, Mayor Bowser. I think for all of us, we want to extend our thoughts and prayers to those individuals who were impacted by the events tonight, their families. We know this is a very difficult time for all of them. I want to join the mayor and everyone here to extending our thank you to the first responders who, again, in very difficult situations and environments, are out there searching and attempting to rescue. Tonight, I spoke with President Trump and his team in the Situation Room. I had a conversation with Secretary Pete Hegseth as well, and then with the Kansas delegation and the mayor and others in leadership, as well as Governor Youngkin from Virginia and Governor Kelly from Kansas. From the Department of Transportation and FAA's perspective, we are going to offer full support to those on the ground, to the mayor, but also to the NTSB, who is going to be conducting the investigation in this matter. We are going to provide all the support that's necessary. Mayor?
Thank you. So with that, I want to ask Chief John Johnley from DC Fire and EMS to provide an update.
Good evening, everyone. I'm John Donnelly, Chief of DC Fire and EMS. This evening at 8:48, an alert was sounded, initiating a large regional response to a report of an aircraft crash on approach to the airport. This response includes first the Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority's Fire Department, the District of Columbia Fire Department, the Metropolitan Police Department, and the U.S. Park Police to respond into the area and to sort that out. At 8:58, the first units arrived on the scene and found an aircraft in the water and began rescue operations. This incident has grown. There's currently about 300 responders working. We have boats from all throughout the region, police and fire boats. We have a mutual aid agreement in Washington, D.C., the National Capital Region Mutual Aid Agreement administered by the Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments, and we're all operating under that. We're operating under a unified command. Everybody's together. So we also have requested state police helicopters from Maryland, and the Coast Guard helicopter is working. So this is a state and federal response as well. U.S. Coast Guard's got some boats in the water as well. So it's a highly complex operation. The conditions out there are extremely rough for the responders. It's cold. They're dealing with relatively windy conditions. Wind is hard out on the river. So they're out there working. We're doing everything we can to keep them safe. And with that, I'm going to turn it back to the mayor.
In Chief Bonnet from MWA.
I'm Rick Bonnet, Fire Chief of MWA Fire and Rescue. Our unit, as Chief Donnelly already alluded to, at 2048, we received an alert from the FAA tower of an aircraft incident involving a commercial aircraft and a helicopter. Our units immediately responded and deployed 3 boats and immediately called for mutual aid resources. Again, as Chief Donnelly said, it's an active operation that's going to last many hours as we continue to work through recovery efforts and rescue operations. This will be ongoing for quite a while. Our thoughts and prayers are with the families and our communities, and we appreciate all DC's support to our agency and our federal partners.
So with that, I wanted to turn to the senators who are from Kansas who wanted to say a few words. First, Senator Moran, and then Senator Marshall.
Mayor, thank you, and Mr. Secretary, thank you, and to our first responders, thank you very much for all that's taking place here. I'm Jerry Moran. I'm a United States Senator from Kansas, and I chair the subcommittee and Commerce Committee on Aviation. So we have really a serious and sad circumstance that we want to be here to be helpful, and we're praying that our responders are safe and the folks who are on that flight are recovered. The circumstance I would describe is that I know that flight. I've flown it many times myself. I lobbied American Airlines to begin having a direct nonstop flight service to DCA. That flight has been in existence about a year. And it is certainly true that in Kansas and in Wichita in particular, we're going to know people who are on this flight, know their family members, know somebody. So this is a very personal circumstance as well as an official response. And again, we will do everything we can to make certain that we're supportive of the rescue efforts, and we'll do everything we can to make certain that our subcommittee and Congress is engaged in what needs to take place following the outcome of this evening and this month's kind of investigation. I've talked to NTSB, I've talked to the White House, I've talked to the Department of Defense, and I've talked to the CEO of American Airlines, and there is all of us pulling together for the best outcome possible. I'm honored to be here with my colleague, Senator Marshall, as we try to make certain that we care for those certainly back in Kansas that were on that flight. But it's a reminder that there are people here in Washington, D.C., in this region, in Virginia, in Maryland, and many places else that fly to and from Kansas.
I'm going to stop it right there. Of course, it's going to be everywhere in the news tomorrow. This is Global Reference News Inside America. Hopefully we'll keep you updated on any new developments on this. Like, comment, share, and subscribe.